I was doing my normal morning routine, kind of hopping between Twitch streams, saying what up to the boys and seeing what everyone's doing this morning. And there was a conversation in one of the streams that I was in about a video that had been posted about Diablo 4 streamers. And I thought to myself, well, I'm something of a Diablo 4 streamer myself, so let's find out what's going on. Now, the title and thumbnail of this one is Some Streamers Cannot Be Trusted, Diablo 4, Some Streamers Cannot Be Trusted. Comments are turned off, so I'm expecting this is probably pretty juicy. We've definitely commented on very juicy things before, so let's address the gentleman or gentlewoman's comments today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out what's going on. All right, it's playing.
Welcome, everybody. This is Made Biker here. I just got to get something off my chest. I want to get it said and get it said right, okay? You guys have heard me talk about this before during my streams. There is a fairly, it's probably about a dozen streamers out there right now.
A dozen? That's probably like the whole category. I don't think there's very many Diablo 4 streamers in this day and age. So a lot of us.
Now, that you may be following some of them, and you may not know that they received a free trip that was offered to streamers to be flown out by Blizzard to test the new Spiritborn class.
Correct. So I think about, I was one of these people, so I think 2025, there's a lot of people there. I didn't recognize all the faces or anything like that, but there was a decent amount of people there that were flown out to test a pre-built out version of Spiritborn well before the launch of the expansion. It was a level 30 variant. There were 4 versions of the class. There was sort of like a Quill Volley type of build. There was a Toxic type of build. There was like a Jaguar, Gorilla. Like there's like a one variant, which is kind of like a dual variant of each. So you got to try 4 different level 30 builds of the class in order to give them feedback on how the character felt to play effectively, so they can make changes in time for the expansion. So far, this is correct.
So it's amazing that all of these things that are going on with the Spiritborn and that Blizzard is claiming is a bug and that they're going to fix it soon.
Okay, if we're going to go down the rabbit hole here of, we should have known about bugs, etc., it was level 30 variants and you couldn't level the characters and we only got to play for a few hours. So we actually didn't get access to any of the things that did trigger the bug effects. For instance, the barrier, namely, is the reason that there's a bug. So we would not have seen that.
They even, Rod Ferguson even put it to a vote on X. Do you want the bugs in Spiritborn fixed, or do you want them to remain? And the voters said they wanted it to remain. Yep. So they've let it stay for a while, and I'm sure it's coming up to a fix soon. But the thing that I want to point out is a lot of us have got this feeling that this season is a complete failure. The crashes, the bugs, they're just never ending. You guys have followed me on stream, and you've seen it crash over and over and over, all right?
That's true. There are a significant amount of crashes. I had a video about this literally during the launch, which was like, it's delayed. We don't know how long it's delayed. I'm stuck live streaming until the launch of the game because I was going to do a 24-hour once the game had been out type of thing, so it ended up being a really long live stream. So yeah, there was a significant amount of crashes, both on launch as well as the patches. In fact, one of the most recent patches had so many crashes they were even talking about a potential rollback in the forum. So yeah, this is all true so far.
So how these dozen of streamers are telling you that it's so good, it's the best season ever.
I haven't seen anyone say it's the best season ever. I thought this season, it's in fact my last video, I think you can see it right here, the Diablo 4 is having drama again. I think season 6 is actually like the seasonal portion of it, pretty bad. In fact, in my very early access review of it, I said the realm walkers are like boring as shit. I did podcasts with Rack, same thing, we said it's boring as shit. Pretty much everyone I've seen react to the season 6 mechanic for realm walkers was so boring, so much to the point they actually had to buff it and make it walk faster because no one likes escort missions. So the season 6 mechanic, nah, I didn't really see anyone loving the season 6 mechanic, to be quite honest with you.
The best thing ever that Diablo's done, you should probably ask those streamers, did you receive a free trip to Blizzard? Did you sign an NDA? Did you get featured on Battle.net?
Okay, let's address those things. So he's probably referring to the actual flight to Blizzard since he keeps repeating that. Again, that was a level 30 test. that happened months before the game came out, there was no seasonal mechanic or anything like that in it. No one tested that. No one was able to see the bugs. It was, again, level 30 pre-programmed things in order to see if the Spiritborn class specifically was enjoyable. None of the information there was revealed about the season. So I'm seeing a couple different points. I think the route he's going down is that we were all flown to Blizzard, therefore we're Blizzard shows. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I think that is effectively the point, which I will address in numerous portions here. First of all, let's talk about the flight itself. So if you do fly the Blizzard, and you're one of the people that fly the Blizzard, there's something called an opportunity cost in business. So you have to weigh in your mind whether or not it's worth it. As a streamer, your primary income comes from people watching with ad revenue, as well as people subscribing on Twitch. And when you're gone for 3 or 4 days, you get a very heavy negation in your CCV, basically your viewer count, because you're not on for those days. And when you're not on significantly on Twitch, people feel like, well, I can't see him, I'm going to go watch somebody else. They end up liking the other person, then they stay there. So taking time off Twitch is actually pretty volatile, which does impact your income significantly. Now, there is a counter argument to this, which is when you go test something, you get to make a video out of it, which is a correct counter argument because that is the decision you have to weigh. Well, I get to make a video saying I played the Spiritborn, but I also don't get to upload videos for 3 or 4 days. So you have to do either a number of things, which is really prepare the audience to say, I'm leaving, I will be back, I'm sorry I'm not online, you'll have to forgive that, and when I come back, we'll be on this date at this time. Please don't forget about me, basically. You also have to prepare YouTube videos in advance, which I failed to do on this trip he's referring to in occasion. So I saw a massive tanking of YouTube with 3 or 4 days, which affects income on those days as well. So actually going on these trips, unless you get paid to go on these trips, which I've never actually seen happen with any Blizzard trips, except I saw it on PoE once. I talked to one guy who got paid to be there. I've never seen anyone else in the industry actually get paid to go on these trips. Very typically, you're kind of weighing that decision in your head, whether or not it's worth it for you to go. And a lot of times, people actually don't go on these trips for exactly this reason. This is why I've never met Rax in person yet, because the man doesn't travel to go to any of these trips at all, because it's actually quite bad for streaming to leave your audience for these number of days. So I would argue that opportunity cost is something you have to be very careful about. Now, a point about the BattleNet launcher, I've been on the BattleNet launcher multiple times. It helps for the hours you're on, but you receive basically no substantial boost outside of that. The most arguable point, you could say that it helps us financially, because I think basically the point is we're Blizzard shows, therefore we're receiving money in order to promote the product. The best that you could say about that is while you're on the Blizzard launcher, you have, it's almost like embedded viewers. It's people that are watching you that don't interact with the channel that aren't going to come back. So you have a higher view count than when your ads are running, you're getting paid more. So I probably received a couple $100 more, maybe even as high as $300 more during the, I think it was 3 or 4 hours that I was on the BattleNet launcher. It might have been less than that. I don't quite remember, to be honest with you. The funny part about that is the first time I was on BattleNet, it was for YouTube, and I actually ended the stream early because I'm not a fan of YouTube live streaming. I feel like it hurts your audience retention on your videos because people see the live stream and go to that and they leave your videos. So I actually ended up leaving the live stream early because I think it really kind of hurts your YouTube. But I could be wrong about that. There's channels way bigger than mine that YouTube live stream every single day. It's just a personal preference. So what my argument here would be, it's an opportunity cost. And as you become larger and larger YouTuber, it becomes less and less worth it to leave your audience for those amount of days. You actually literally end up losing money. And I talk to many people that go to these types of trips, and we've kind of all come to the same conclusion. I did another trip recently, which I can't talk about yet due to an embargo, which will counter his point about NDA in just a second, because this is one of those types of situations. Many people I've talked to have debated whether or not it's even actually worth going on these types of trips for these types of reasons. And the best reason to go would effectively be able to know anything about the class as early as possible, so you can answer questions with your audience or make that one good banger YouTube video. So I've always gone on the side of give the information to the audience and eat the loss of revenue, because it is actually technically a loss of revenue when all numbers are said and done. Now let's talk about the NDA. So I think the portion of it signing NDA is probably thrown in there as a type of point where it's like, well, they signed an NDA, and who knows what's in the NDA? Maybe the NDA says you have to be, talk good about it, or you can't talk about bugs or anything like that. So it's actually not NDAs that people will sign when they go on these types of trips. They're called embargoes. An embargo is a contract that you sign that says, I will receive information that I cannot disclose until said date has transpired. So effectively, you're not allowed to say these things. We actually don't sign any contracts to say you're not allowed to disclose anything. I don't think I've ever signed a contract in my life that tells me you're not allowed to say these things. It's called an embargo, which is very standard practice. And we have information we're releasing, but we have an embargo date of, let's just say, November 25th at noon PST. That way, all creators can release information at the same time and not, have an arms race to who can go out first. So those would be my first points in response to him.
Did you get featured on Diablo's YouTube page? Are you currently featured on Diablo's YouTube page? And see what their answer is. If their answer is, yes, I did, then be careful about listening to anything that they're telling you. I mean, guys, I've been straight up honest with you from the beginning. We've done this game from the beginning, all seasons. Now we're at season 6. And I've been pretty straight up and honest with you and told you that, hey, of all the seasons, season 3 was the worst, of course, as you guys watched me play.
So far, we have a pretty similar opinion. I thought season 3 was actually so bad. So bad, I actually rage quit it during a promotional event that would have been financially beneficial for me to farm on Twitch. So I actually agree with him. Season 3 was quite bad. And my first videos that I made on the early access said that the campaign is actually quite bad. In fact, I made multiple videos talking about how disappointing the campaign was, that the room words are underwhelming. Even in the PTR, which I wonder if he's going to get in the PTR, because that's something everyone had access to. In the PTR, again, I had very negative feedback about room words. The interesting thing about giving negative feedback is when you give negative feedback related to a game that people watch you for, it actually hurts your channel. So you have to have the balls to go out and do it, not because you're worried about the relationship with Blizzard. I can't name a person that gives a fuck about our relationship with Blizzard, to be honest. No one really cares. It's the relationship with the audience that you're worried about. So shitting on the game can actually be bad for you, but not for the reason he might be insinuating. It's because people that are actively loving and searching out content for the game because they're in love with the game don't want to watch content that is constantly negative about the product that they so do love. That's why we see some channels that are just positive about the game all the time, because the audience that they're effectively farming, right, enjoys the game, and they don't really want to yuck their yums, to take a Gen Z phrase from them. So that's one of the reasons you might see this.
Play it. But this season has been horrendous. This season, you have witnessed crash after crash after crash.
True.
Something that no other season has ever done. I mean,
that's true,
it's
too.
done it very well here. We've witnessed it over and over. And not just on me, on a PC, because I've posted videos of these crashes. I've heard back from Xbox users that they're getting crashes daily, multiple times. I've heard from PS5, PlayStation users that they're getting crashes daily. So what is going on? You keep seeing stability fixes posted by, update patches by Blizzard to help fix the problem, but they can't fix it. It just keeps occurring and occurring. We've got realm walkers that don't show up on the map. I'm not the last time they actually did show up. Normally, you can't get them until you log off, log back on, change characters, do all kinds of crazy.
So I'll make a comment here. So far, he's talking about the season. I was curious whether or not he was going to get into the expansion itself, because I think the expansion's the part that you could probably make the argument that streamers were very positive about. I was positive about the Dark Citadel. I said I think it was the best content they've made in the game. I was debating whether or not he was going to come up with a point about that one. Maybe he still will. We have a couple minutes left in this video. People were pretty positive about the Spiritborn as well. The season, however, is an interesting topic to have the debate about. Maybe I'm going to assume that he means with the season, he's actually talking about the expansion as well, because the season is very lackluster. I'd actually completely agree. I wouldn't have any argument with this video at this point. Yeah, the season's pretty bad, and I think if people were coming out here with video after video saying season 6 is the best season of all time, he'd probably be right about his arguments. However, I think there's a dichotomy, a conversation that happens where the expansion is not bad. There's a value proposition that you have to have with yourself of whether or not $40 is subjectively worth the content that's available for you, and you have to absorb the information and make that decision for yourself as a consumer. But as far as the argument of the season being so good, this is actually a conversation, a point I haven't seen happen that much. I've seen most of the conversation happen with the expansion, so I hope he dives into that.
Stuff, but yet these streamers and they're pretty well-known streamers, are out there telling you this is the best thing since sliced bread. This is the greatest. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. And
I feel like if you're going to say streamers are saying it's the best, you should use specific names. If we're going to call people out here, let's have the balls to call people out. So name the streamers and maybe bring up some examples. I'm hoping to see that still of which streamers are the ones saying these things, and specifically which things do you have a problem with in terms of quotes. Maybe then we could counter quote if you pulled up a quote of my video and, oh, here's something that DM said. Don't trust DM because he said this. I could probably break down my reasoning for that. But it's very hard to have a counter argument against don't trust some streamers because they say it's the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know if that's a very nuanced conversation to be had here. It just seems sort of like you can trust me. I have been out here saying, you know, it's all dog shit. Don't trust them because they say some things are dog shit. You know, it's hard to have a conversation with that.
Yet they do not tell you about all the issues that are going on with the game because they've got it in with Blizzard.
Okay, let's see if that part's true. Let's go look at my videos here. Let's see if I do not mention it. So if we go to my videos and we go here, D4 is having drama again. You probably just saw that one. It's the latest one. This is related to all the issues, and this is actually a 15-minute, I wouldn't say rant, but me like kind of pushing back at what's going on. This is a Cyberpunk video. This is me changing my plans for November because PoE got delayed. PoE got delayed. This is talking about the bugs of the Spiritborn. This is talking about the Spiritborn nerfs and why they need them. This is talking about the Spiritborn issue. This is the truth of Diablo 4's Vessel of Hatred, in which I break down my disappointment about the campaign. However, I like the Dark Citadel, and I think the Mercenaries are a pretty cool addition. I like the new class. I stand by all these opinions, by the way. I think the new class is quite enjoyable to play and is well designed. I don't really think RuneWords have ever been that super interesting. I think the campaign is like quite bad in terms of writing. This is just a tips video. This is Blizzard just hilariously baited everybody because I talked about how I actually didn't like the fact that we didn't fight Mephisto in the campaign. Another tips video. Expansion delayed, talking about one of the issues he's referring to here, the crashes. This is just a fun tier list because I'm more focused on fun than I am min-maxing. Another, honest truth about the video. You can call it clickbait if you want. It's one of these videos, me talking about the issues that I had with it. I died again. Again, the Diablo 4 expansion, more edited one where I review everything, including RuneWords, etc. And that would be going back to the very first video in which he might be referring. And in this very video, I talk about the campaign being not so great, the RuneWords being mid, Mercenaries being, kind of cool, the new class being quite good, in my opinion, very enjoyable, and the Dark Citadel being the best content yet. So I believe even in this one, it was sort of both black and white. So I can only really look at my own content here. I'm not the one making video calling people out, so I'm not going to look at other people's channels. But for me specifically, that'd be a counter to my content.
And again, if you're hearing that these guys are telling you it's so great, ask them, did you take a free trip by Blizzard to go play the Spiritborn?
Yes, I did.
Were you featured on the Battle.net page?
Yes, I was.
Were you featured and still featured on the YouTube Blizzard page? Diablo 4.
I'm not sure what he means by featured on the YouTube page. Their YouTube page is actually smaller than all of our content creators, so I don't know if they link off to us or anything like that. I was in one of their videos in which I talked about the Midwinter Blight like a year ago, but I don't think that has anything to do with the conversation in this day and age. But maybe he's saying because you're like more recognizable, the throughput is more, but you actually don't get any traffic from them making a video with your face on it. On there. And as far as like the Twitter promos and stuff where they'll put your face in, I know there was a couple where they were like, have me being like, oh, this game's so great. They actually edit together. And there was one line where I was like, this is the best content ever. I was going on this monologue of a meme I do this every season where I'm like, this is the best you've ever seen. This is better than RuneScape. This is better than Super Metroid. Like, it's just a continual meme on my stream. And they did clip it out and put it in their Twitter promo. I was never asked whether or not they could do that, by the way. Maybe that's to what he's referring.
Page. If their answer is yes to any of those questions, why are you listening to what they tell you about this game? I'm telling.
Okay, so that's pretty harsh because that kind of sounds like if we've ever flown out, if we've ever been in any official promo stuff, if we have any relationship with Blizzard, you can't trust us, which would basically cut everyone out of the YouTube scene except like him. There's not really like a lot of people that aren't in the Diablo partner program. Even in the early access had over 30 people in it, just from the partner program alone. So this does kind of seem like if you've ever done anything in the Diablo scene because you got large enough to be noticed and then Blizzard, worked with you, that you kind of just can't trust any of those people, which would really limit your options. I will say he is making one point, which I really do agree with, which is that as someone who watches YouTube videos, you should not blindly trust people. I don't want you to blindly trust me. I don't want you to blindly trust any of the people I know. You should watch our content and actually watch it. What I'll see is some people will look at the title and thumbnail and then just assume what the video is about. They'll click on the video, leave a comment as if they had watched it and then moved on. If you actually watch the videos, you will hear people's opinions about how they feel about the content. I myself try my very hardest to be as nuanced as possible and say both things I like and things I do not like in each one of these videos. I try not to just blindly go out and hate, because not only can it hurt your channel to blindly hate, but also I don't think that's a good way to build a following carrying a flag of hating on things. I'm not really a fan of the type of community that can bolster. I have found myself being overly negative at some times, so it's a fight back against that, because I don't just want to be negative all of the time, but I do that for other reasons than my relationship with Blizzard. If you watch a lot of my content, you're probably surprised I even have a relationship with Blizzard at all, if we're being quite honest, because I don't really typically pull my punches. I do see some content creators that are only just still playing the game and talking about, build guides, etc. That may be an argument he would make in this video. I could understand that, but I don't really begrudge people for just making content about the game. They're making it for the audience that are looking for those types of things, and they're probably just not drama farmers, which is, I suppose, an argument you could make about myself.
There's too many of us out there that know this season is garbage, and yet you're being told certain things that are being promoted by Diablo, by Blizzard, by a group of streamers that have got a hand in the game. All right. So I'm just going to say it out there. Be careful who you're listening to. All right.
I agree with be careful
about me. Don't listen to just me. Go play the game yourself. Get your own opinion. But yeah, be careful. I just need to get that out there. Take care, everybody. Be safe. As always, Made Biker on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find me every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Take care. See you soon. Adios.
So there are some points I agree with. I think the point at the end that he makes specifically about be careful who you trust is a very astute observation, especially when it comes to the YouTube scene, and I wholeheartedly endorse that message. I have found myself as a content creator not making content in which I go out and either attack other creators in the space or deliver messages that I cannot deliver receipts upon. So going out there and saying, don't trust creators that are effectively larger than myself, big enough to have relationships with some of these companies, don't trust them, they have their hand in the cookie jar, is a pretty large accusation of dishonesty. You're basically calling people liars. So I would be very careful with those types of accusations you can make with people, because not only can it damage a relationship from creator to creator, but also, to be honest, you don't know other people's situations and how much they are doing their very best to keep it 100% genuine with everything they feel. And sometimes opinions change. I know multiple creators that have a great time at the launch of the season, they're very positive and feeling good, and then weeks later they get bored and aren't feeling so good about the season. That's a very human reaction. I've seen that both in the audience as well as myself. So that's just a little bit of feedback from that video. I appreciate the conversation today. There were some points I agree with, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.